can't hear you.
Let me try that. Welcome back to the show. How's that? My
Let me
microphone is
guess. We
muted.
started the episode with Dylan on mute.
That is true. That's exactly what happened. How are
That's
you doing
par for
today?
the. You know what? Every day's a gift.
True that. That's
Noodle,
why they,
don't noodle. You know that saying?
that's no, I don't. But I do know that the saying that every day is a gift, that's why they call it the present.
That's what that's from.
Oh,
Quit,
really?
don't quit. Noodle, don't noodle. You are too concerned with about what was and what will be. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery.
Tomorrow's a
But
mystery.
today is a gift. That is why it's called the present. Do you know who says that and in which movie?
Uh, isn't that like a Dr. Seuss thing?
Nope. Master Oogway Kung Fu Panda.
I'm pretty sure he stole that from Dr. Seuss.
No.
Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. Hey, my sponsor is going to get pissed if I don't answer if I don't read out the who this episode is sponsored by. So, first of all, thank you for tuning in, guys. This is going to be a great episode, and this episode is brought to you by Dieter Rent a Neighbor. Ever wished you had a neighbor who was dependable, judgmental, just the right amount, and always willing to lend you a cup of whey protein? With Dieter Rent a Neighbor, you can rent Brad Dieter himself to be your next door neighbor for 1 day, 3 days, or a full week. He'll do all the neighborly things you've ever dreamed of. Pretend to wave at you while taking out his trash, judge your lawn mowing technique, knock on your door to remind you that your recycling bins are facing the wrong way, and of course, stand shirtless in his driveway at 6 a.m. just to establish dominance. If you upgrade to the premium package, Brad himself will host a full seminar in your garage on advanced basketball strategy, complete with PowerPoint slides, a laser pointer, and a Q&A session nobody asked for. Dieter Rent a Neighbor, because sometimes the grass really is greener, especially when Brad Dieter tells you it's not.
Do you just use ChatGPT to generate these?
Yes.
Also, I would imagine being my neighbor is the worst thing possible.
How much would somebody have to pay you to be their neighbor? Let's say it's in the same town, right? You don't have to I want to rent you to be my neighbor for a day. How much you charging?
I'd probably have to pay somebody. That's probably the reality of the situation.
Oh, God. Does anyone else think we're funny? I'd imagine nobody else thinks we're funny, but
I
whatever.
would
That
imagine
doesn't.
the people who live next to me have no, probably think I'm the weirdest person ever. I mean, I work from home, right?
Mhm.
So I leave the house at the most odd hours of the day for either to go to the gym. Sometimes it's really early in the morning. Sometimes it's in the middle of the day. Sometimes it's late at night. I'm out walking my dogs. Then I'm out walking my baby.
Well, that's not weird though.
Random people come to my house for random stuff. When I used to
They
own
probably.
the car business,
Oh yeah.
random cars used to just get delivered on giant delivery trucks to my house.
Right.
It's just probably so wild. Just living
That's pretty
next to me,
funny.
people are probably just like,
What the hell is this guy doing? I
Yeah.
wonder if they thought. I wonder if they thought with all the random people that would show up at your place, and the extravagant cars. If is this dude a drug dealer? What's this guy do for a living?
I don't know. And then even probably being a neighbor up at our cabin is probably wild because I just let whoever go stay there. If I'm not there, I just don't care. And so my parents go up randomly, my brother-in-law and sister go up randomly. My neighbors, I'm just here's the code to the gate. Go use the dock to go fishing or park your boat. So it's just my house is just always
honestly, all you've done is strengthened why somebody should call Deer Rent a Neighbor, because you sound like a pretty great neighbor.
Yeah.
Was that just a subliminal way to sell your service? I think it's great. All right, we got to get on
we're
with
raising venture capital for that business. So if you wanna get $100 million into a seed round, there you
go. We are gonna. I promise we'll get to this. We will get into our episode. I think this is should be. I say this about all of our episodes. I think they're going to be helpful, but I think this one people will really enjoy as well, because we're going to dive into some strategies that I think will tackle a lot of the things that we encounter in real life, especially as we head into the holidays, because people already struggle to find time for things as is, and now with kids back in school, you got sports, you got the holidays coming up. It tends to be a much more busier time of season. where you already struggle to find time, and now it kind of seems like that's amplified. So we're going to outline simple strategies and things that you can do, like what do I do if my only option is eating out? What are some better strategies for grocery shopping? How can I make simple meals and stay on track without having to spend hours cooking? So hopefully that's what's you guys can take some of that stuff away today and actually go out there and implement it. So where I'd like to start is, first of all, I think it's important to talk about that none of us, when you're in our community, whether you're a client or whether you're just in the Facebook group or whether you're a casual listener, I can't talk today. We don't expect people to be perfect, right? Perfection is not the name of the game. All we're trying to go for is consistency. And so if these strategies that we're going to talk about help you be more consistent than you currently are, the only thing that can happen is progress, right? So it's just about taking steps to be consistent. Don't feel like you got to be perfect. Close enough often beats exact, right? So I think with that said, I just want to dive straight into a couple of the most common examples, I should say, that people run into. And we can start with just eating out. A lot of people go out to eat, friends invite you out, family invites you out. Friday night's coming. Oh, I got invited. My parents are coming to town. They want to go out to eat. I did really well Monday through Thursday. I'm going out to eat. What the hell do I do? So I don't know about you, Brad. I just kind of go enjoy myself, but I also understand I'm the position that I'm in is not like I'm not dieting. So like if I wanted to diet down, I I wouldn't have much of an objection or guilt going out to eat and foregoing my diet that day, because like I'll just go enjoy myself and I know I can get right back on track the next day. And that may not be the case for other people. But if you're trying to diet, is that your philosophy too? Like what do you recommend if something like that comes up, with the understanding that again your situation is probably not the same as other people, but like in general, what do you recommend? What would you tell someone?
You are what you do most. You are not what you do infrequently, with the exception of if you do something illegal and you go to jail, right? But like, if you're eating out at restaurants 5 nights a week, 4 weeks a month, you're not really eating at home. You're mostly just eating at restaurants, right? Now, if you go out once a week, like that's a different story, right? So I think the first thing is like understanding exactly what and be objective with yourself. How often are you going out to eat? Right? How many meals are you eating outside the house a week? Is this 10% of your meals in a month? Is it 5% or is it 40%? Right? And some people the average is like probably 40% of their meals they eat out of the house, right?
Right.
So you have to
Exactly.
be objective with yourself about what your actual behavior is. Then there becomes like I'm going to just try to keep this very simple. There's basically 3 ways to eat when you go to a restaurant. Right? There is try to eat as like plain and simple as possible. Like get a salad with no dressing and a piece of chicken on it. Like there's that version. Then
But
there's
that
the
also that sounds horrible.
right. Then there is the like go out and enjoy yourself, which is like I'm gonna order kind of whatever I want off the menu, right? Then there is I'm gonna go out and I'm just gonna do whatever I want to do, and that's like I'm gonna get the appetizers.
I'm gonna go
I'm gonna
wild.
get the biggest entree. I'm gonna have 4 cocktails, and I'm gonna have dessert. Now, like
Exactly.
all those 3 things are all very different, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like if you go out to a restaurant once a month or once a week, and you do option 1, like who cares how often you like who like eating at restaurants is fine. If you go out if you go out 40% of your meals and every time you go out it's option 3, like that's going to be a problem. So what it really comes down to is like you have to decide how does eating out fit into your life and like what is the strategy you're going to use and then just figure out the rest of your life around it, right?
So
So
then, oh, go ahead.
my approach is we don't eat out that often. I mean, we probably go out for a meal. Like, let's say there's 21 square meals a week, right? Like 3 times 7. We probably eat 18 to 19 at home. And usually, like, one of those going out is like we're going somewhere on the weekend. We just have to grab a quick lunch. So we stop and get a wrap somewhere or something like that. And then usually we'll go out to dinner like once a week because I just don't have the bandwidth to cook or it's date night or whatever, right? And so the way that I handle that is I usually go option two. Like I kind of just order whatever I want off the menu, right? Sometimes that's, a salad. Sometimes that's a burger and fries. Sometimes it's nachos. Sometimes it's a steak. It just kind of depends on what I'm in the mood for, right? And it's kind of a little bit of I don't really care that much about what it is
Yeah,
because
right.
I've done the work the rest of the week. It's very rare that I go option three. One, because I just I don't enjoy that. And two, it's so expensive. Like that's the
Well,
reality of it. But so I think like understanding how you navigate restaurants is important for your own like personal process, and then just realizing like you have various options.
I think that's the problem for people is because I'm right now I'm thinking of some of these objections in my head that I might hear from somebody if this was the advice to them that we're talking about. And the objection would be, well, yeah, but as soon as I go out and I get something that, tastes good, like I just I just can't control myself. So then I end up ordering dessert. Then I order more drinks and I just, I like all hell breaks loose, right? So sometimes it's not for lack of this person doesn't want to go for option number two. They just can't seem to help themselves, right? What do we do there, right? Because I think, and this is where I think, like you said, you have to know kind of what camp you fall into. And a lot of the times it's either you are someone who needs to completely abstain, or you're someone who can handle these things in moderation and be fine. Now, if you're someone who, when they get a taste of something delicious, you just go off the rails and you can't control yourself, it may be better to stick with option number one, where your only choice is you might not like it, but maybe it's bland. Maybe it's grilled chicken with some seasoning and some vegetables. It's not exciting, but it's not going to lead you to go off the rails. So that I think it's important to kind of know which camp do you fall into. As much as we talk about you can eat whatever you want as long as it fits your macros, that may be true, but that doesn't mean it's a good idea for everyone because maybe that leads to a downward spiral that they want to avoid. So just something to consider there. I think, if you, yeah, I mean, what would you add to that? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's reasonable. Like, I think that's a reasonable heuristic to follow, right? Is and understand your own personal approach.
Right.
Like, so it's funny you mentioned that. I just got off of a call, literally right before this, and it was kind of a can't give away a lot, but was just gathering some information from clients about like their experience. And one of the things that they mentioned was one of the benefits they've gotten from working with us is for the first time they feel like the nutrition program they're in is personalized. Like it is figuring out what strategies work for you. And that really is ultimately what you have to figure out is like blending your psychology, your physiology, and your lifestyle of like what decisions can you make.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that goes for other examples besides just, I mean, the eating out, going out to dinner, that was a big one. What do you do for, let's change the scenario a little bit here. Business lunch well, okay, you're traveling for business. I mean, you travel for various reasons, right? So you'd be one of the guys to ask, right? How do you handle on the go traveling? I'm through the airport. I got to grab something to eat. Or is it really like you said, maybe you just like maybe you really are the guy that okay, I see a wrap right here. Now that wrap that might be $15, which sucks, but that's beside the point. Maybe I'll just pay $15 to grab a wrap that I know is probably fairly low in calories, but it's at least going to keep me full. Like, what do you do when you're on the go? You got business decisions to make, and you just got to grab something quick, whether it's the airport or something else.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say I have a busy year of traveling. Like, let's say I have one trip a month I have to go do, which is like for me a busy-ish year. I just have made a decision like just traveling all the time for work is not something I'm overly interested in doing. Um, so let's say that means I have one travel day, which means probably 1 to 2 meals are in an airport on the way there, one travel day on the way back, 1 to 2 meals. So that's, let's just say 4 meals, 12 months, 48 meals of travel. Okay. Plus, let's say every one of those trips has some like business meal out. That's another 12. Okay. So now we're at 60 meals. I mean, how many meals do you eat in a year, right? Three times
We'll say over
365.
1,000.
Yeah. So 60 divided by 1100. 5% of my meals. Okay.
Yeah.
So that means with, if I do a good job of the rest of my life, that 5% doesn't really matter that much. So there's that. There's the first perspective. The second perspective is most of those meals I'm probably going to make a good to fair decision. Like I'm going to probably, if I'm in the airport, grab a turkey sandwich, a chicken wrap. I might pay the $5 for the post TSA protein shake and the banana that's probably 9 days old but has so
Yeah.
much preservatives in it. It's probably fine. Like pay an exorbitant amount for like a healthier snack, and then probably one of those meals is probably gonna be like, hey, I haven't eaten in 6 hours. I'm gonna go get like, a Chipotle burrito or something at the airport. So it's like they're gonna be reasonable but not perfect decisions, and it's only 5% of the time. So it's, I don't know. Like I just don't get that worried about it.
I think what there's a common theme emerging here. Would you agree that this is really kind of comes down to your perspective and your mindset on all this?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it's, kind of boils down to.
Yeah. And it kind of goes back to, I actually made a post on Instagram/Facebook this morning, and it was related to like developing habits over time. And I gotta find it because I can't remember what I wrote exactly. But it's basically like, I'll just read you the quote. There's a process related to how identity factors into behavior change and creating new habits. Most of our clients think this is the process: results, behavior, identity. They often think that once they have a different outcome, they will choose different behaviors and then they will become a different person. The truth is that the process actually occurs in reverse. You
Yeah.
create a new identity, which leads to new habits, which leads to different results. This means that the process of identity change is actually at the heart of behavior and habit change and looks like this: identity, behavior, result. The shift in identity is not something that happens instantly, and it is not usually a major shift. Shaping a new identity starts with a small idea and then is built through repetition. First, they begin to see themselves differently. Then, they start showing up differently. Then, they realize they are the type of person who is that new person. Then, the results come, validating that they are indeed that type of person. Every time a client follows through, they cast a vote for the kind of person they want to be. And just like habits, identities are built through repetition. This is why consistency matters more than perfection. One decision does not rewrite the story, but 10, 20, a full month of showing up differently, that starts to stick. You're not just building habits, you're building a new sense of self. So, like, I think part of it is, I think you correctly pointed this out, of like the identity that I've adopted is I make good choices most of the time around my food. And but like by good choices, I mean it's not good and bad foods, but like
We
I
yeah,
generally
we know
make
what you mean.
decisions that align with my goals, right?
Yeah.
And so I know that that's my identity. So for the most of the year, I do things that align with
Your
my
actions
goals.
follow. Right.
When I'm in a situation where it's not ideal, I'm still going to make a decision that's better than most other decisions, and that the cumulative effect of all those decisions is generally in the direction of where I want to go.
Yeah. And I think where people struggle is when you've lived a life that is not like that, but you want to. It's tough to change who you are, right? Like it's tough to like start becoming a different, like especially in the beginning, because you have to like consciously go do things that you wouldn't normally do until it becomes unconscious and you just automatically do them. It's that first bit that's super hard.
Well, I think it's also you have to stack enough evidence that you are who you want to be, right? Like if you have for 20 years had like let's just say somebody put um I don't want to say a hamburger. I don't know. It's just so hard because I don't think about food as like good or bad. Let's say somebody puts a highly processed, highly calorie dense,
Oh, hot dog.
relatively unhealthy. I was gonna say a Costco hot dog, but we can
There
never,
you go.
never talk bad about the Costco hot dog. Um, like a quote unquote bad food in front of you and a quote
Hmm.
unquote good food in front of you, and for
Hmm.
30 years, every time you reach for the bad food, the next time you are faced with that decision, you have so much evidence that you're going to grab the bad food versus
Yeah.
the good food. So you have
Hmm.
to just start
Right.
by getting enough evidence that you're like, oh, actually, I'm the kind of person who chooses X, who
Exactly.
chooses X. You know what I mean?
What's so funny is you're basically talking about like you essentially have to pretend that you're someone else, and you have to like live as you think that person would live until you actually become that person. Like you,
Yeah.
it's you fake it till you make it, so to speak, right? Until you are that person.
I mean, the reality is, this is a little bit of like you're playing a game, right? Nobody has the identity of who they want to be until they become that person. So you might as well adopt the identity now,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like
correct.
nobody has the identity of a billionaire until they are a billionaire. But that doesn't mean you can't adopt the identity of I am somebody who thinks, acts, behaves like that is anyway, right? Because when you get to the end of it, if you have X amount of dollars in your bank account, like you're still a person. So you might
Yeah,
as well adopt the mindset and the identity before. The same thing is like
for sure,
whether I inhabit a body that is like perfectly healthy and perfectly fit, I can adopt the identity now. And then
for
eventually
sure.
all of the results will be there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think those are yeah, that's a great point. What about people who? So let's say let's say you're practicing all this. You've got feel like you've gotten into that mindset. You're slowly, your habits are getting better, but you still want to. I mean, a couple practical strategies. Let me just say, like because you're still going to need to do things when life comes up and life throws you these unplanned events, and you still got to navigate them the best you can. I think some practical strategies for people who are going to go out to eat would be good here. I think we, planning, like you can look at the menu ahead of time. Sometimes you can go on their website; they'll have the menus listed, but they'll also like show you the calories. Depends on the restaurant, of course. The we I'm kind of recapping here because we did talk about some of this, but what about just taking a protein first approach, right? Taking like if you choose if you choose a meal that who's let's say the bulk of it is steak or the bulk of it is chicken, there is that satiating effect when you eat protein. I think we that's pretty well established, right? If you eat protein first, it can make you feel a little bit fuller, which could potentially lead to you not overeating, which is what you're trying to to avoid. The other thing that I don't we haven't talked about this, but who says you got to eat the whole meal at once, right? We kind of get this mindset where you're served this food and like, oh shoot, I got to eat all of this, but you can take it home. You got that's what a doggy bag is for. What's funny?
It's funny because like I that is a skill slash behavior I have not figured out.
I'm
I
with you
will
because I don't.
finish every plate. Like I
Me too. Me too. I'll give you
like
that.
there's a lot of things that I'm good at. One of the things I'm really bad at is I will finish everything on the plate.
Yeah, I do too. My wife will take stuff home and then put it in the fridge and it'll never get eaten. And I'm like, honey, the kids aren't going to eat the rest of those fries. The kids aren't going to eat that mac and cheese. Like it's just, you just might as well
And
either.
what's so interesting to me, like this tells you so much about the subjectiveness of fullness and satiety especially in the modern food environment. Like, I will, when I'm at home, I will make myself a lunch, and it's usually like pretty simple. Like today, I literally heated up a steak from last night that was probably like, it was tiny. I mean, it was, I don't know, it was probably like 25 grams of protein of steak. And I had probably like, I heated up a cup of like leftover rice because I just always make extra. Like that was my lunch, right? So objectively, it was tiny. And it's not enough protein to be like, oh, you're so full because you just had a huge steak. Or it's not enough rice to be like, you ate so much rice that it filled up your stomach. But like, I was objectively full after it. And it was probably
You,
like a
you weren't
total of,
hungry anymore.
yeah, like it was probably a total of 400 calories, right?
Right.
Now, I will go out to a restaurant and I will order, if I order like, occasionally we'll order an appetizer and then I'll have like a burger and fries, right? And this is objectively probably a 1,400 calorie meal.
Mm-hmm.
And I will eat the entire thing and I'll still be like, oh, I could eat more,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So, like, food volume, way more on the restaurant. Um, Objectively, like, not that different of like macronutrient profile, probably a little more fat in the restaurant meal, but like, same amount of protein, probably the same amount of carbohydrates. Obviously, like, higher palatability, whatever, but like, that's so just subjective, right? Because of the
Yeah.
environment you're in, what you're used to doing, like all of those things. And so, like, if you actually give people like practical advice for like, we're literally stuck on restaurants for half of this episode, but um, like here's some very basic advice. When you go out to a restaurant, try to order something with more protein and vegetables.
Yes.
Um, Try to order things that are baked or sous vide or grilled rather than fried or sautéed. Skip the appetizers unless they're on happy hour and they're half off. Then you always have to order an appetizer. Um, Try to limit your alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Drink all the water they'll bring you.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them for a lemon because it's very proper and nice. Um, Dylan's like, Jesus. Like, if you do those things, it's pretty easy to navigate a restaurant.
Well, the only thing I want to add is I would recommend going to your favorite restaurant, which is Applebee's, because you like
Dude.
you microwave food. I joke, I kid. I actually don't mind. I don't mind. They don't put their stuff in the microwave, but I just think the whole concept of
I mean, like,
Applebee's is so funny.
this is a little bit of a joke, but not. Like, I just kind of explained the difference of like my objective decision making and fullness around food in my own house versus when I go out to a restaurant.
Yeah.
My wife buys string cheese at the store, right? I will occasionally, if I just like need a quick snack, have a string cheese, but like, I don't really love string cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if I see them and I open them in the fridge, I'm like, meh, probably not gonna grab one. But occasionally, I'll like, if that's the only thing we have, I'll eat one. But if you go
But
to a
if you fry
restaurant,
it,
if you go to a restaurant and mind you, I will eat like maybe one string cheese. I will not eat four.
mm-hmm.
But if you go to a restaurant, they will give you string cheese dipped in batter, deep fried with marinara sauce, and you'll eat five of them, and it is a warm up to your 1,500 calorie meal you're about to have. Like, this is the difference of like the subjectivity and the context and the environment of how you eat food.
It's almost gluttonous because there was a comedian one time who was like, "You don't know the appetizer. That's just the meal we get before our actual meal." Like, it's like when you present it like that. No, that's just a warm up. It's
But
a
the
little bit
thing is,
gluttonous.
like, that is normal.
It's normal here.
Like,
I don't
that
know if
is
that's
just
like,
part of culture and process. And I don't necessarily think that's, I mean, is it part of the problem? Yeah, but I don't think that's really the problem.
Is it the core problem? No, it's not. No.
Like, and I will still go do this.
Yeah. And I think you and I are both probably the type of guys who, if we go out to a restaurant, we eat, we get full, and our wife is like, "Do you want to go get ice cream?" I'll be like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Like, I'll do that. I'm not full, or I'm full, but I'll still eat ice cream. Anyways, okay, we got to move on because like you said, we've been talking about half this episode about restaurants, but I promise there's more. Before we move on, I want to mention three. I just wrote down three things that I thought would be good to mention to people. Just a couple quick examples for people that are wondering if I've only got like a restaurant or something fast food as an option. What do I get? I want to list a couple easy options: Chipotle, double chicken, rice, load up on veggies, and salsa for flavor. You also got a solid choice in Chick-fil-A because of their grilled nuggets. You get a fruit cup and a side salad. It's not going to be all that high in calories, especially if you, like I said, especially if you get the grilled nuggets. An Italian restaurant, grilled chicken with some pasta and maybe some tomato sauce. Skip the creamy sauces. Just a couple quick suggestions I wanted to mention to you guys. So there are options out there when you're thinking about I got to get something to to go quick. Like what are some relatively low calorie options? Those would be a few. Okay, strategies for people who don't like to cook, people who don't want to invest a bunch of time in that. One thing that I posted in the group. This was probably I don't know maybe 4 or 5 years ago now. I basically put a food list of foods you can buy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner that required no cooking. Like at most, you would just put it in the microwave and heat it up. When you think about it, you can buy chicken that you can buy meat that's already cooked and just heat it up in the microwave. You can buy vegetables that are already like again, they're in a bag and you just steam them in the microwave. You've got frozen meals, you've got like there's just so much convenience now. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily the cheapest way to go, but for people that don't want to spend a lot of time cooking, do you think there's anything wrong with buying those meals that are already pre-cooked, buying things that are maybe it's a canned vegetable because it's quick and I can heat it up in the microwave, or something that's it's a frozen meal, maybe frowned upon, and you would think, oh, it shouldn't eat too many frozen meals, but like in a variety of other things, to me, there's nothing wrong with that. So you can eat and stay on track by buying the more convenient meals as much as you can anything else, don't you think?
I mean, think about this on a spectrum, right? Obviously, in an ideal world where you have an unlimited amount of time, preparing all your food at home from fresh ingredients is best for long-term health. I know very few people who have that ability based on their time, right? On the other end of the spectrum is uh, Uber Eats and McDonald's to your house for every meal, right? The reality is your life is going to fall somewhere in between for most meals. Sometimes you're going to have freshly cooked meals at home with fresh ingredients. Sometimes you're going to order takeout. Sometimes you're going to use pre-cooked meals. Sometimes you're going to use meal delivery services. Like all of those things are options on the table. Now, one of the benefits of the world we live in now, there are a lot of options that make food convenient and can be healthy. Like there's nothing inherently wrong with food being frozen and reheated in the
For
microwave.
sure. For sure.
Now,
Or canned food.
with the exception of things like, heating stuff up in microwaves with the plastic, like there's some concerns there. But like for all intents and purposes, like there's ways to do that you can buy meals that are frozen and you can heat up and they're pretty good. You can batch cook meals that are frozen. You can do like all
That,
sorts of things.
yes.
Um there's also just like when I think about this, there's also a little bit of the like think about the economics of what you do, right? How much does it cost you to prepare a meal at home on average per plate per person by buying everything and cooking it yourself versus ordering the food from like a meal delivery service versus going to Chipotle, buying a burrito bowl with double protein, double beans, double rice, double veggies, whatever, and you end up really getting like 3.5 meals out of one, but you're really only paying for the double protein. So you're actually probably paying like $4 per bowl. Like you can kind of do a little bit of an analysis of that in your own life and figure out like where is the sweet spot, right? Because if you end up spending on average $100 more per month, but you get 15 hours of your life back, and you have basically the same calorie requirement or calorie intake, nutrient needs or nutrient intake, micronutrient intake, etc. Like it's probably all in the net a good idea to have some of those things available, or at least know what they are.
Yeah. Yeah. What about, can you walk us through for people who I can't track? I want to stay, I want to get better at portion sizes, let's say. Do you remember the rules of the palm method?
Yeah.
Walk us through that one for anybody that wants to know.
I mean, the hard part with that is like everybody's hands are so different.
Yeah, but they're relative to your body.
I mean, sort of.
I mean, unless it's
I mean,
let's
it's
just assume
like
it's
a
proportional.
palm of protein, 2 palms of starch, a thumb of fat, like all those things. I mean, the problem with that is like I just don't find that actually helpful
Really, because I
for
was going to
most
say
people.
it's because I can tell the way you're by your body language you don't necessarily agree with that. Well, why is that? Why do you think it's like is it why do you think it's not appropriate? Or maybe that's not the right word for it, but not appropriate for everyone.
Okay, if you're trying to lose weight, how should you change the portion size? The half of your palm?
Well,
What
I
does
guess
that mean? A
well, it would matter more of what you're actually eating.
Yeah, like a palm of chicken breast and a palm of ground beef and a palm of
Yeah,
salmon are all wildly
for
different,
sure. For
right?
sure.
And what you're actually doing is you're just kind of taking out all of the education process about it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think for for most people, like if you
And are
the
you
point,
supposed to eat that 3 times a day? What if you eat 6 times a
yeah.
day?
But I mean, I think when you compare that method to someone who prior to that has just always eaten junk all the time, and you have a very high processed food, high calorie diet. Switching to something like that is probably going to lead to weight loss for you, right? Compared to
If I
how
go
most people eat.
if I go to McDonald's and I get a Big Mac, a large fry, and a Coke, and I take the patty and I stick it on my hand, and I take the fries and I pour it in 2 hands, I've achieved the palm method. Like I
Well,
just you know what I mean?
I do. I wouldn't have thought of that analogy, but that's really funny.
But like that's
Look at
that's
me, I'm doing the palm method. It's
like
it's McDonald's.
that's sort of my problem with that. I mean,
Okay.
like I'm kind
When
of kidding, but I'm kind of not,
when you
right?
put it no, I get because when you put it like that, it makes sense.
I
Okay,
mean,
I
like
understand the gripe.
here's let me just give you like a little bit of insight into my own life. I
Oh
also
God.
don't love tracking my food all the time. Like I just have so much
Yeah.
stuff going on. Like doing that it at times gets like really overwhelming, and like I just don't want to do it. So the other reality is, and we're gonna publish some data on this in the not too distant future once I get some other stuff done. But most people eat the same foods over and over.
Yeah, for sure.
Like there's some people who like have to make a brand new meal for every breakfast, lunch, and dinner of their life of every day. But like that's a very small subset of people. And whoever you are, God bless you. I love you. Come move into my house. Um, but the reality is if you can spend a couple weeks of your life just like weighing and measuring the things that you normally eat, you get a very good idea of where you can like assess your own portion sizes pretty easily. Like you know what, oh, my bowl of oatmeal should look like. Oh, I know what my dinner plate should look like. Whether it's if I'm eating chicken or fish or steak tonight, whether I'm eating rice, pasta, or bread, whether I'm eating mixed greens, steamed vegetables, what like the reality is food is not as complex and complicated as people make it. Like
For sure. I'd agree with
if you
that.
look at your dinners over the last 20 years, most of them have had either chicken, fish, steak, or pork, right? They've had a pasta, a rice, a potato, or something like that. They've had some vegetable. And you've probably had the same 30 to 40 meals on repeat for years, right? And so just developing like the basic understanding of the calorie and nutrient contents of the things you eat most often is you can essentially just develop a routine and do that. This was an interesting thing that my wife and I started doing. So we used to go to the grocery store every week and buy stuff, right? And then we got a new credit card, and the credit card had free Walmart Plus, which delivers groceries to my house for free. right? So now all we do is every week on Sundays, we just pull up her phone and just reorder the same thing from the week before.
Right. Right.
And then we kind of have the same like 3 to 4 dinners every week. It's like, okay, we have steak. Well, I'm going to put this seasoning on it versus this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to either cut it up and put some soy sauce and teriyaki on it and put it in the rice and with the mixed veggies so it's like a stir fry versus like a whole steak that's cooked on the grill with some potatoes and a salad. Like they're all sort of the same meals, like from a
You
nutrition standpoint.
yeah.
And
You have
it's very uncomplicated. Like I could probably do this routine for years and my body weight would stay pretty similar because
for
I'm eating
sure.
the same amount of foods, the same calories of foods,
It all kind of
etc.
balance. It all evens out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what you're mentioning is something because like I was going to read some of these tips that I have next that I think will help people, but one of these tips is build a handful of meal templates that you can mix and match. That's essentially what you've done, right? Like you've got, I mean, for all intents and purposes, you and your wife have meal templates that you can make, you know, you've got a protein that you can mix and match with a veggie that you can mix and match with this. You can put different seasonings on it. But like so like you said, they're all the same. Like everything's pretty much the same, but you can still induce variety by mixing and matching. I think that's super helpful and is probably something people don't realize. Like you probably do eat most of the same things that throughout the week that you don't even think about. But I bet if you look at like people that log their foods, and if you go into the Macros Inc. app and you're tracking food, if you look back, you're going to see a lot of the same stuff over and over and over. Like you'll notice some of those patterns. Okay, I wanted to read
Okay.
I have a grocery store strategy, and we can expand on any of this, but I thought I'd read kind of some of these points for people. I think it'll be helpful. Some tips as you're going through the grocery store, right? Label reading, make sure that you become literate when it comes to labels. Check your serving sizes, compare protein per calorie, and watch for hidden oils, sugars, sauces in sauces, dressings, and things like that, because those can add up. And if you look at a bottle of, you ever looked at a bottle of dressing and the calories, like how much a little bit of ranch dressing has in it for calories, like it's insane. It's just obviously the fat content matters, but it's
The
wild to me how dense some of them are.
the argument in our house because my wife loves ranch and I
Me
don't
too.
really care for ranch
I love it.
is ranch is mayonnaise with Italian seasoning in it.
That's good.
Like that's all it is.
So are you what
A lot of
if you're
sugar.
like are you more of a blue cheese dressing kind of guy? What's your dressing? Are you Caesar?
Yeah, usually Caesar
Caesar
or
salad. That's
nothing.
a salad. That's okay. Um the other I'll just get through these. I promise I'll try not to sidetrack myself, but a better good slash better slash best choices framework. When you're thinking of bread, these are just a couple examples. Bread, maybe instead of buying white, you buy whole wheat. Maybe you buy those high protein wraps. Those are solid choices, and you can get very diverse with those. I've used those a lot where it's a wrap instead of bread, so it's going to probably be lower in calories than a couple pieces of bread that you might normally make a sandwich on. For people that buy yogurt instead of the full flavored fat, try plain Greek. Try the 0% and add fruit. It's also the same thing for cottage cheese. Instead of the full fat cottage cheese, buy the low fat stuff. Still tastes fine. You can still mix stuff with it. It'll be lower calories. A couple time saving shopping hacks for you. Shop the perimeter for basics, and then hit the middle aisles for canned slash frozen staples. And then the tip that I mentioned earlier: build 3 to 4 go-to meal templates that you can mix and match. Buy all your stuff, kind of the main like bulk of the stuff that you usually get, and then mix and match for variety throughout the week. And
We
then a
were
quick store.
having we were having a nice podcast until you mentioned cottage cheese.
I don't. I'm with you. I don't eat it. I don't hate it, but I don't eat it. If you're averse to it, I apologize. I'm just saying it
We were
seems to be
having
very
a nice
popular.
time.
A quick store tour example: produce, pre-cut veggies, salad kits. The deli, as you're going through the deli area, rotisserie chicken. Brad can tell you all about his rotisserie chicken story that that fell down the street. I think that's what it was, right? Sliced turkey, For dairy, Greek yogurt, low-fat cheese sticks, low-fat cottage cheese. Freezer, shrimp, chicken strips, mixed veggies. Those are all. I actually like the frozen food aisle because I can buy frozen chicken, I can buy frozen veggies, I can buy a lot of good stuff. And then the pantry, oats, rice, beans, nut butter, etc. So those are some quick tips to look for, on things that you can look for in the grocery store that aren't going to be like super calorie dense. You can make relatively quickly if you're someone who doesn't have.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Is that what you said?
Do you know what that's from, by the way? Do you know who
Mary
said that?
Poppins.
Yes, it is Mary Poppins. Okay, just testing your knowledge. I don't know. I
What?
don't know that I've
What?
what. I don't
Do
actually
I
know that I've
know
seen
who
the full
that
movie.
is? My goodness.
I figured you know who it was. Just didn't know if you've seen.
My
By the way,
goodness, man.
have you seen the new Naked Gun movie with Liam Neeson?
No.
Dude, you have to watch it. It's hilarious. Sorry. Moving on. We only got a few minutes left because I do have to wrap up the episode a little bit sooner than we normally would. Brad, practical on the go tips. Want to wrap? Want to share us some on the go tips that we maybe haven't talked about?
Keep emergency snacks in your car.
What are your emergency snacks? What do you have in your car?
Like I usually have like a protein bar of some sort, but I make sure it's one that's like not gonna melt when my truck gets hot.
Yeah,
Um,
it's probably solid.
Gum is a great emergency snack
I didn't think
because
about that.
it kind of just helps with
The
hunger a
act
little
of
bit.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, sorry, what was the original question before I got onto emergency snacks?
Just like other quick tips for just when you're on the go.
I think a big thing is like don't ever try to plan ahead so you don't get into the point where like something is an emergency, like you're so hungry you just have to eat no matter what it is. So
Well,
like whenever I have to travel, go to the airport, I always eat something before I leave. So I'm never like in a oh my god.
yeah.
Have some go-to things that you can buy on the road that you enjoy, like a protein shake, a protein bar, some sort of like lower calorie, higher satiety snack, like a popcorn, like something that's easy, good, and you can go to in a pinch. Um, know like some of the chain restaurants that are fairly popular that you have some go-to orders, like hey, if you go to Chick-fil-A, what's your go-to order? If you go to Chipotle, what's your go-to order? If you get stuck and you like have to go to a McDonald's or a Wendy's or whatever, like or a Panda Express, like what's your go-to order? um Scout some of those things ahead of time if you're traveling, like that's also super helpful.
What I also think is helpful, and I'm surprised you didn't mention it, but well, actually, I don't. Maybe you're not really a. I was going to say diet soda, like a diet Coke, can like help, like curb my. But I don't think I've ever seen you.
Yeah, I'll
I don't
drink a
even think when
Coke
I was out at
Zero.
your place. Oh yeah, you did have Coke Zero, I guess. But I almost like never see you like drinking soda.
No, I'll have one like maybe once or twice a week.
Just not a. What's your like? I mean, obviously, coffee is. I know you a coffee drinker, but outside of coffee, like, are you just a water guy?
The joke in our house: nothing makes me feel more wealthy slash richer than drinking a Topo Chico.
I knew you were going to say the Topo Chico. Yeah,
Like I don't know why, but nothing makes me
fancy.
feel just like more uppity than having a Topo Chico. So I'll have one probably. That's probably my go-to. Just it's with a little bit of lime. Oh my god, it's so good.
But we
So
can
good.
wrap up this episode by with a few would you rather questions that I have for you. Okay, would you rather eat tacos for the rest of your life or only eat pizza?
Tacos for sure.
You'd go tacos. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you rather have to drink a gallon of ranch dressing in one sitting, however long that takes you, or eat 50 McDonald's cheeseburgers in 24 hours?
I would rather do the cheeseburgers. Oh, a gallon of
Terrible.
ranch dressing. That's so bad.
Would you rather never be able to eat cheese again or never be able to eat bread again?
Um. Ah. Does bread? Well, bread means like I can't ever have a hamburger. I can't ever have
Right,
pizza. I can't.
right,
I mean, I have to say
right.
no cheese, but then I guess I would have a pizza with no cheese, so that kind of sucks too.
Both are terrible choices. All right. Would you rather eat Would you rather every steak you eat be super well done and chewy, or every chicken breast you eat be a little bit raw in the middle?
I would rather eat a steak that's too done and chewy.
Probably a little bit too easy.
Oh my
Would you
god.
rather eat everything with your bare
Salmonella is no
hands?
joke.
Would you rather eat everything with your bare hands or have to eat soup with chopsticks?
I'd rather eat soup with chopsticks.
Because you never eat, you could
I,
just not eat the soup,
yeah.
right? Easy.
Imagine trying to eat cereal with just your hands.
Would you rather always get the waiter who ignores you for an hour or always sit next to the couple loudly arguing on a first date?
Oh, dude, I would sit next to the couple arguing on the first date.
For entertainment.
Dude, that'd be so good.
Um, would you rather tip 100% on every meal or never be allowed to tip at all and be
I would
hated
rather
by
tip
every server?
100%.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
just wouldn't go out to eat that often.
Would you rather be stuck working the air fryer or working the fryer at Taco Bell for eternity, or be the Olive Garden breadstick delivery guy at weddings?
Dude, I would be the Olive Garden breadstick delivery guy at weddings. Everybody would love you so much.
That's
You would be
true.
like the most.
Well, you were good at dishing out hot dogs, or was it corn dogs at the fair? So
They were
people
Vikings, okay?
people liked you at the fair. They called you the corn dog guy.
No, they were
Uh,
not corn dogs. They were Vikings. Let's get this straight. And I
would you
crushed it.
would
Let's
you
be
rather?
real. I probably set a Missoula State Fair record for the amount of Vikings slung per hour per person.
That's probably
I was the king of the upsell. I also sold a lot of drinks with it too.
that's probably because you were out of the food truck and like shirtless and showing off your abs to everybody. I bet that's what got people to come in.
No,
So
I was just crushing it. I was so
would
good.
you would you rather the chef come out and insult you every time you order, or the server sit down and eat half your food with you?
Dude, I would rather hang out with the server. I want to hear a story.
I
That'd be great.
only got a couple more. We got time. Would you rather have feet that smell like garlic bread or armpits that smell like that smell like fish sticks?
Where do you get this stuff?
Where do you get this? You're not gonna answer that one?
I would rather have my feet smell like garlic bread.
Would you rather fight one horse-sized chicken nugget or 100 nugget-sized horses?
Well, couldn't I just eat the chicken nugget?
I
That might take
suppose.
me a
Yeah.
while, but
Yeah. Would you rather have to introduce yourself at parties or professional gatherings by yelling your favorite fast food order, or wear a chef's hat everywhere you go for a year?
I would rather wear a chef's hat. I don't know if people know this about me, but like I do not like large crowds of people. And
I
I'm
didn't
very
know that about
introverted in
you.
large crowds of people. I like to just sit
Huh.
and watch. I don't like to mingle.
That's interesting. I guess I would not have.
Well, that's because usually
You
you see me in professional settings and I can like
yeah,
overcome my
your social anxiety.
to do what I need to do. Yeah.
All right, last one. Would you rather your voice permanently sound like a drive-through speaker, or that your laugh sound like a blender crushing ice?
I don't care. I don't. I, no,
Whatever.
neither. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I got no dog in that fight.
All right. I get to go pick up my little one from daycare, so that's what I got to duck out for. But hopefully, people found this episode entertaining, if not helpful. Hopefully, at the very least, they found it
At
entertaining.
least people now understand that I have a very clear perspective on the Paul method.
Yes, yes. It's not that he hates on it; it's just a very logical thought process about it. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go pick up my little one. Then I got more work to do, so I better get to it, or Brad's gonna yell at me. So, all right, I think we'll duck out of here. Anything final you want to say, Bradley? Any last words?
No, if you want to do all this work that I have left to do for me today, that'd be great.
I have plenty to do already. I'm not even done with what the project that I was doing today. It still has finishing
You
touches
should
to put on it. So
probably tell your boss he's asking you to do too much.
I don't really say that. I kind of just kind of grin and bear it and just do it. I just say, you know what? The thing I've learned over the last few years is that as overwhelmed as you get sometimes,
Just keep going.
I always get it done. Like it always gets done, right? It always works itself out. So I don't worry too much about it. But
That's like
anyways,
one of the most helpful perspectives I had early in my career when I was it was just absolute chaos. Was it's going to get done. So just
correct.
don't worry about it. Just do it.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with you. All right, we're gonna duck out of here. I'm gonna play this beautiful outro music, and then we're outie. So
Cool.
till next time. I don't know. We're having technical issues. This does not want to play for me.
Oh well,
Sorry.
this episode is gonna end on a low note, just like it began when Dylan was muted. So with that, we're just gonna sign off. We're out of here.
This thing won't play for me. Till
What
next
an
time.
absolute disaster.
We're out. Goodbye.